Hey everyone, Amy Bowser-Tennant here, the genealogy reporter, and it is Family Story Friday. Before we begin our episode today, I want to give a big shout out to my friend Daniel Tessenholtz at genealogistnowhere.com. He sent me this fantastic shirt. I love it. Daniel, thank you. You can visit his website and get all sorts of really neat genealogy goodies, t-shirts and keychains and mugs and all sorts of things. And I'll put a link in the description of this video below. So I've titled today's Family Story Friday, Dolly Parton is my mom. And that's because I actually thought that Dolly Parton was my mom. Or rather, my mom was Dolly Parton. So when people say, hey, did you know gullible wasn't in the dictionary? I totally fell for that. And it's not just because of my blonde hair, okay? Because even though I was born and raised blonde, this ain't real, people, okay? It's in a bottle. And I don't like to say that I'm ditzy or stupid. I'm just trusting because I'm a trusting person and I can easily be convinced of things. So my dad and I would watch the Dolly Parton show every week. And it just so happens, and I think this is true with lots of stay-at-home moms. Dad comes home from work, you've been with the kids all day, and so then you run your errands in the evening. And so she was gone a lot of evenings. And one day, we were watching the Dolly Parton show, and I said to my dad, "Is that Mom?" And he agreed with me. Yeah, you finally figured it out. That's your mom. And I want to explain myself. Mom didn't look a lot like Dolly Parton, but she did have a lot of the same characteristics. She had big blonde hair. She loved wigs. My mom always had makeup on. She had long fingernails, always done, and she played a bass guitar. And I think the clincher, she knew every word to every Dolly Parton song. So I was convinced that was her, and that's where she went in the evenings, was to be on TV. I must have thought that for ages. I don't remember exactly when I finally figured out that he had been teasing me all this time, but I definitely thought Dolly Parton was my mom. I was going back through all the little things that we think about as children, things that we believe in, and things that our parents get us to believe in: Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, Dolly Parton. And I was remembering back to one of my favorite memories as a child is that my dad, Dad, also convinced me there was a tooth fairy. Now, I never believed there was an Easter Bunny. I don't know if we just didn't do that at the house very often or talk about the Easter Bunny, but I never believed there was an Easter Bunny. I believed there was a Santa Claus until my cousin Doug told me there wasn't, and that if I would sneak down on Christmas Eve, I would be able to see my mom and dad put the presents under the tree, and he was right, so goodbye Santa Claus. But when it came to the tooth fairy, for some reason, I was convinced she must be real. And I think it was because I would sabotage the tooth fairy, or at least try to. I was sneaky. I thought, you know what? I'm going to put this tooth in just the right position under the pillow. And if this envelope is not in that same position, or in the same, laying in the same direction or in the same place, then obviously tooth fairy is not real. But I'd wake up and it would be right where I left it. So then I had this fantastic idea. I thought, you know what? I know what's happening here. Mom and Dad are taking the envelope with a tooth in it and putting a new envelope with the money under my pillow. That's what they were doing. I knew it because, after all, the tooth fairy had the same envelopes we did. Right there. So this time I marked a tiny little X inside the envelope. When I got up the next morning, I was super excited to put down the tooth fairy. She is not real. Only to open up the sealed envelope to see that the tiny little X was still there. And a little note from the Tooth Fairy. Now, the little note said something along the lines of, Amy, I know you think I'm not real, but I am. And I saw that you had put the little X in the envelope. My magic is such that I don't actually have to open the envelope. I just, magically get the tooth and put your money in, and it's the same envelope. So that had me going. I was confused, buddy. I had no idea how my parents were doing this, but I knew they were behind it. Fast forward, maybe I was 11, almost 12 years old. And I had written a letter and sealed it up and put a stamp on it. And there was something wrong. I don't remember if I'd forgotten to put something else in the envelope, or I needed to get that item out, or I needed to add something to it. And I was complaining because I'd already put a stamp on this envelope. So I couldn't, and then if I opened it, I wouldn't be able to use the envelope again. And my dad says, oh, it's okay, honey. It's all right. Go warm up some water in your mom's teapot, and when the steam comes out, you just hold it over. And so he was showing me how to do this, right? And it clicked. That's how you got those Tooth Fairy envelopes open. And I said that, and the look on his face of just being, deer in the headlights, totally caught. I knew then, no such thing as a Tooth Fairy. So I wanted to have my children also believe in the Tooth Fairy. And I had all planned out. And when my daughter, my oldest, lost her very first tooth, I, did the traditional, got the envelope out, and I actually exchanged it for another envelope and put glitter on the pillow and then across the room and up to the windowsill. I thought that would be such a cute idea. And it didn't turn out that way, because my daughter was horrified when she woke up and saw that there had been something in her room. And I said, but it was the Tooth Fairy. She left you money. Oh my goodness. She was scared to go to bed for days. So total fail on that. Well, finally, I got the kids to not be afraid of the Tooth Fairy. And then, of course, as all busy mothers have happened, I forgot one day. The Tooth Fairy forgot to put in the money under the pillow. So I came up with an idea. Because of my dad having written that little letter from the Tooth Fairy, I decided to write a little letter to my children. And I went to my computer and I typed it up with the font of number 6. I mean, it was so tiny that you couldn't even hardly see it on the screen. And I explained the first time that I forgot that they had shut the door of their bedroom, and that I had come through the front door and had expected to come into their bedroom, but that my arm was broken, and so I couldn't turn the doorknob. So could they please leave the door open a crack for me to get in? That was the first time. The second time I forgot, I left them a note that there had been a terrible snowstorm, which there had the night before, and that I was so sorry I had not been there the night before, but the snow had kept me down. And then another time I forgot, and this time I told them that there had been a tooth emergency, that someone had fell down the steps and lots of teeth were lost, and so I had to go help them out. So I came up with lots of excuses, reasons why the Tooth Fairy didn't show up on time. So if you need to borrow any of those, feel free. I think a lot of us have these fun stories of our past where our parents kind of tricked us into believing something, and all in good fun. My dad, who was the joker of our family, his father would play jokes on them from time to time. And his favorite is to tell about the time he was in the barn with his friend and they heard growling and scratching and gnarling noises. And it was his dad hiding behind the barn making animal noises to scare them. And maybe that's what happened. Once Dad ended up getting scared himself and finding that funny, I guess it just stuck because he really enjoyed playing little tricks and jokes on us girls, and that was fun. Good memories. Do you have any memories like that? Are you the jokester, or someone else? Are you gullible? Did you believe in the tooth fairy or Santa Claus or Easter Bunny? What were your stories about that? I'd like to hear them in the comments below. Thanks for joining me today on this short but sweet Family Story Friday. Please subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. We've had a lot of subscribers this weekend, and that has been great. So thank you. Join us again on Genealogy Tip Tuesday and Thursday Thoughts, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.